Hi, and welcome back to rule number 3 in 12 Rules of Life by Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. Rule number 3 here is make friends with people who want the best for you. And I apologize, my voice definitely sounds awful. And maybe I'll try to, if it sounds too bad, I'll try to re-record this. As you can tell, my Spanish teacher growing up, I remember she taught Spanish kindergarten through fourth grade, kindergarten through fourth grade. And every time her voice got messed up, she always said that she had like a frog in her throat. So I guess I have a frog in my throat, but it is definitely not fun to be me right now. But nonetheless, the reading must go on. I read this outside in a park, this chapter. It was very short. It's like 15 pages or so. Or no, it was like 18. But so it's really short. And I just read it outside and it was very enjoyable. Anyway, we can start here. For me, I'm gonna start on page 70. And he's just talking about growing up out in rural Alberta, out there in Fairview, and for fun they would just drive around the town. There wasn't much else to do. If they weren't sitting inside drinking, they were out driving around with their friends in their old pickups and cars like that. And it reminded me of COVID, actually. I was in university at the time, and everything was closed down. I was still in the town where my university was, and I was still living with my friends, and there wasn't else much to do. So we would literally go for drives for like 2 hours every day, usually at night. And we would just drive around and look at the houses, listen to music, and just talk. And it was wonderful. I love going for drives, even by myself, and just listening to music. I think a lot of people do that. It's really good to clear your head. I really want, as bad and scary as it is, I sort of want a motorcycle just so I can do that. I would strictly not do anything crazy on it. I just want to be outside and have that feeling of the wind and just clearing your head and driving. I don't know. It sounds so wonderful. I mean, riding your bike is like that, and driving your car, and then just to be, just a little bit more connected with the outside world, being on a motorcycle, like, it sounds wonderful. Although, like, it still doesn't matter how careful or how slow you're going. You can always get in a crash, especially on a motorcycle. It's real easy. And it's something you have to really, really consider, and being okay with, the future consequences, and not to be taken lightly. Okay. Page 73. He's describing when he moved to Edmonton. And he moved in with his sister, and he thought that he could leave, his past, because no one really knew him. As growing up in a small town as small as his, that is hard. Everyone knows everyone, and what you did in the past, it's hard to change about how people think about you. I know I mentioned in the last video that quote from the show Longmire. A man can be willing to change himself overnight, but the world won't be so quick to forgive him. If a man wants to make up for all his mistakes in one day, they can try and everything, but growing up in a small town, people are going to remember what you did, and it's not going to be easy to convince them to change. But going to a new town, he says that you can have like this like phoenix-like transformation. The phoenix is it burns up into ashes, and from the ashes it's reborn. And so if you go to a new place, you can kind of have that phoenix-like transformation. I thought that was going to happen as well for college. I was going to a new city. Not very many people knew me. And so you can literally be anything. I think that's a concept for a lot of movies and TV shows as well. Like kids, the parents have to move, and so the kid has to go to a new school, and they're like, I'm not going to be the nerd anymore. I'm going to be the cool kid or whatever. And I guess he was saying not everybody has those notions, and not everybody wants to change and to rise up or do something different. And also on page 73, I thought it was a pretty smart line when he said he and his friend Carl and Ed, they made the road trip to Edmonton, and once they got there, they bought marijuana and they bought alcohol, and they just drank in their hotel room. And while they were 400 miles from home, nothing had changed. They were the same person. And that happens a lot too. I definitely resorted to a lot of new things. Even though I could have been anyone, I definitely went back to my old self, which, you know, in essence isn't always terrible, being who you were and who you are. But, you know, I think we're reading 12 Rules for Life so that way we can try to better ourselves and be better people. And so you don't always want to just be your old self. And you don't want to just hang around the same old friends, as we learn in this chapter. Page 75. Okay. At the top here, Peterson says, "For every individual driven to achieve, there is another who is indolent. The degree to which these differences are immutably part and parcel of someone is greater than an optimist might presume or desire." And I thought that was a powerful line. It's, you know, it's kind of like a tit for tat, or almost like the yin and the yang, you know, for every person that's gonna make it in life, there's always definitely gonna be one that's not gonna make it. And it's not necessarily like 1-to-1 equal, but it is true. And everyone is born with different abilities in their skill set. And, you know, you can try and train up and get better at the ones that you lack in, but not everyone is born the same, as we all know. There's some are fantastic athletes or musically inclined or whatever you are inclined to. You just have something about you that can really shine. And some people just have the proclivity, whether it be their environment or just their inner self, where it's hard for them to want more from themselves and to push harder and to, you know, kind of be complacent. Right now, I'm at least for myself, I don't want to, you know, I don't want to be indolent. I am driven to achieve right now, and, you know, I'm not exactly where I want to be in my life, and I want to make myself better, both within myself and for what I do with my life and all that stuff. And I think he also, the part about the optimist, you know, it's interesting to me, because I think I try to see the good in most people and try to be an optimist, but sometimes you just have to take on that real world view and understand that some people aren't going to change, and some people just don't have that drive to be better and to do great things. They're okay getting by, and that makes them happy enough, and it allows them to survive and to get through things. And if that's all they want and they're happy with that, then I'm glad that they're happy. But for me, it's not enough, and I want that drive to achieve, to win, to be something better than I am now. And also, that's really hard to classify, like, what is better? When will it be enough? And it probably will never be, which is kind of a blessing and a curse, to always strive for excellence and perfection, and then once you get there, it's not enough. I think in the earlier chapters, you got to have respect for yourself and take a step back and say, hey, I did do a good job on some of those things, which I think I did mention in the earlier videos that I need to do a better job as well. Okay, page 77 through 78. I was supposed to read Fyodor Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment. I was never able to get through it. I tried, and I know that he's a great writer. It just wasn't for me, and I was like questioning myself, like, it's like people love it, like, what's wrong with me? And it's like, well, if I don't like it, then I just don't like it. You know, maybe that story isn't interesting for me, and I want to read something else. You know, I still read, like, Lord of the Rings. It was kind of a trudge. Lord of the Rings is long, but I still loved it. I could see the fight scenes and everything going on in my head, and it was long and hard, but I loved it, you know, and that's something I love, then I can embrace that. And, you know, I'm loving this book, and that's okay. Some people may not like it, and so it's, anyway, it's kind of, that's a side tangent, not really about this rule, but I was just funny that I tried reading Dostoevsky, and at least Crime and Punishment was just not doing it for me. He's talking about the man from the underground, and how he's kind of like messianic, and he thinks that he can change this woman and make her better, but in doing so, he's taking credit for himself, and he thinks that that she loves him, and he's feeling bold and cheerful, and that she needs him and has to bow down to him and kiss his feet. And then when she thinks that she needs a change, like, how could she think that? Like, I am such a wonderful, great person, taking her in and helping her and making her become a better person. Like, it's very narcissistic, and it's kind of ludicrous that he can think all this stuff about himself. But then I took a step back and I started reflecting on my own self and what I want from life and what I want to do. I've really considered, being like a teacher. I think I would enjoy that, or like a coach or something like that. And I was trying to figure out why I would want that. And, it just kept coming into my head. Oh, maybe I can help people become better. I can help them become something great and to achieve more. And that's like the same thing as the guy from the underground, right? To think that you can change someone to become better and to feel good about yourself. But then I was like, I think there's like different paths of doing that. I don't think I would feel, that like narcissism, like, oh, they need me and I'm so great and thank God that I'm there for them, because I think in a way, it's always inside a person, right? If they're going to achieve and do great things, there's going to be people by their side helping them guide it, but ultimately it's up to them to achieve that and to rise up. And Peterson even mentions the psychologist Carl Rogers, if they're not willing to change themselves and to seek help from the psychiatrist or psychologist, they're probably not going to make a change and become better. And that's the same thing with your friends. And excuse me, and is it narcissistic of me to think that I want to help people become better? I mean, a little bit. And why does that make me feel good? Why do I want to try to help? I feel like I have some pretty good friends, and we help each other out, and we want the best for each other. And then of course there's other people who will get jealous of your successes, and those aren't really your friends. I know I might have even mentioned it before, like Joe Rogan talking with the other comedians, and if one of your friends or a comedian makes it and they're doing really well, that should push you to like, oh, I'm so happy for them, but now I want more for myself, and to push really hard and to try to make yourself better. That's the friendships you want, to help push yourself and have the friends that want the best for you and to look out for you. And I do have those other friends where I don't know, maybe I'm friends with them out of loyalty, and I want to help bring them up and to become a better person, because I know they can achieve great things. It's just they got to get out of their mindset and to become better. And again, is that the man from the notes from the underground, and what am I seeking in myself? If they go and achieve great things, am I just living vicariously through them, so that way they can do great things, and in essence then I'm doing great things? Which I guess I help them get there, but how much did I help them get there? And I don't know, that's just a lot of questions. It's hard to get through them all, especially on yourself, on your own. Trying to think through it. I think that's why you got to talk to other people. Maybe in the comments, people will talk it through it with me. But really, I didn't really have much pages to cover after that. He just kind of talks about like, what's your aim there with trying to help other people who, who are, not doing as well and maybe lower on the scale of trying to rise up, and they may not have any ambition at all. And I was just trying to reflect on that myself, and there's still a lot of questions, and I don't know, I don't think I have all the answers. I definitely don't. And I know I have my core group of friends that I can rely on that want the best for me, and that's a good start. And maybe you can branch out a little bit with the people that you think you can help out just a little bit. But you can't just stay with them all the time. If you want something great and to achieve something great, then you got to be in that right environment as well to want to do that and to rise up and to just make your life better. And so you got to have those friends that have your back as well. I don't know if what I just said made any sense. I know I was rambling a lot. It was more just self-reflection on myself, which I hope will help others, think deeply and have a self-reflection of their own. And I think that's what Peterson was trying to arise from these texts, this message. What is it about you, and why do you have these friends that you call friends? Why do you have them? And do you need to get rid of them? And that's, I think, the point of this chapter, is to have you self-reflect and look on that. And so I did a good job. I don't think this was like the usual for my chapter reviews, but I hope it was helpful, and maybe you will self-reflect as well, and maybe you have some suggestions for me. I think I'm different from the guy from the underground in what I want and, helping the others, but still, I'm sure there's some similarities. But, short chapter, this should be a short video. Next rule, compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. All right, take care.